What's up, Simon?
Good morning, Ryan. How are you, buddy? How was your weekend?
It was very, very, very fast. I did like 10 hours of driving on Saturday, all to pick up an RC car that I then drove for about 10 minutes before the nut came off the wheel and I lost the nut. So now I have to, start all over again and repair this thing.
Well, I was going to ask you, was it worth it? But it sounds like maybe not,
I think it was worth it just because little man was so excited to see, this RC. It goes like 45 miles an hour, so it's quick. Yeah, right. It's super quick.
All right, wow. You did more than I did this weekend. I kind of did nothing, dude. Like nothing. My wife let me sleep in Saturday. We didn't have any plans. She's been feeling under the weather, so we decided to stay home and stay in. I mean, I ran and got groceries, but it was like peddly errands, like just run out, and it was really, really, really restful weekend. I love it.
Sounds like the best weekend right there.
It was. And the thing is, I didn't even anticipate it. Like I didn't know. It's not like it was like such a pleasant surprise. But speaking of pleasant surprises, we have a very special guest. Now,
nice segue,
Ryan. Okay. Oh, thanks. I have skills. I know every time we have special guests, we say, "Hey, we have a very special guest." And we were actually joking about this before with our special guest. One, she is a very special guest. Two, I would say she's a very special guest for a couple reasons. One, we've never had her on yet, so this is exciting. Two, we kind of get to show off the rest of our the team. When we talk about the training team, like she's on this team that we kind of talk about. You see us the most, but we talk about what our teams are doing. She's on that team, but also she's here to kind of reinforce content or this idea that you're going to get from other places. So this one I think is super practical for all of you. And for that very reason, I would like to introduce you to the amazing Amanda Bradshaw. Amanda.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much for being here. So you heard about our weekend real quick. I know we didn't talk to you about this, but how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I did a lot of purging. So I moved in here probably a year and a half ago, and I still have boxes that I haven't unpacked since the move.
Okay.
Oh, wow. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, hey, I haven't worn this in 10 years, but eventually maybe the style will come back and I'll wear it. I'll need it. So I've got to stop that. It's an issue. It's a problem. It's a challenge. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty productive.
That's good.
I felt very domestic this weekend.
See, I have the guy version of that. I have like that favorite pair of pants that I'm like, someday I'll fit back in them. And when I
have a lot of those.
I'll wear them. So. And are you? I forget her name. Is it Conda? Like, are you doing the whole it sparks joy or doesn't spark joy? That whole thing for getting rid of stuff. Are you familiar? Oh,
nope.
Okay. All right. I think her last name's Conda or something like that, but she has this whole thing about, does it spark joy? If it doesn't spark joy, just get rid of it. Yeah. So, all right. So, Amanda, thank you for being here. As we kind of tipped our hat earlier in the intro to what we're here to talk about beyond the smartphone. So our audience, our FSMs are going to get this podcast, but they're also going to get this idea from somewhere else about beyond the smartphone. So I know we were talking a little bit beforehand. How would you describe like the who, what, when, where, and why? What is the idea of beyond the smartphone?
Well, it's just the ecosystem selling. So you might, see it, hear it as BTS. We all love our acronyms, and BTS. Sorry to say, it is not the K-pop band, but stands for Beyond the Smartphone, and it's just about the products and services that we may not position to customers, even though it would be a great solution for them. So I'm talking about, the buds, the watches, your PCs and your tablets. So I know, some of the carriers don't have connected PCs, but there's still Samsung products out there that are not connected that could be sold. And we're kind of missing the boat on selling those types of products, which bring us a lot of revenue. So that is what BTS is going to focus on. And another thing is there are a lot of free Galaxy Samsung products or services, I should say, and they're really good solutions to help enhance that Galaxy experience. So a lot of that is overlooked too, and not discussed as much as it should be.
Well,
I know that. Go ahead, Simon. Go ahead.
I'll give you an example of one that I don't think gets a lot of love. I think simply because it's probably very utilitarian, but we use it every week, and that is link share. So when we're done with this, Ryan, we've talked about before, Ryan is our producer. He is doing all the making this look really good and look really fancy. When we're all done, he's going to use Samsung Link Share to get the file to me because it's huge. Can't email it, right? So he'll just send me the link share. I'll download it and we'll go on and I'll do some editing and that kind of thing. And that's a great app because not only does it work for really big files like, this video podcast, but also it works with our competition, right? You may not know this, Amanda, but my wife is on Apple. It's a way for me to share files with her. I can, zip up some files, zip up some pics, send her link share, boom, she can get it. And, so it's not just us and our ecosystem, which is fantastic, but it also lets us play nice in that, file sharing way with other ecosystems. So
we're so inclusive. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we get it.
Another utilitarian one is Samsung Notes. I use that all the time on my PC. It syncs with my phone, so everything's kind of synced there. But the question I was going to ask, or the thing I was going to kind of point to was, that conversation about, the ecosystems and what products outside of that sometimes can be a difficult conversation in a store if your carrier doesn't carry those devices. I know there's usually some hesitance to talk about products that are sold elsewhere because you never want to talk about, the other place or, Best Buy or somewhere else that might also sell phones as well. You don't want to ever point customers somewhere else, but at the same time, those RSAs probably don't feel that same way when talking about the Apple ecosystem. Right, because there's Macs and there's other things, HomeKit, whatever it may be, Apple TVs that they talk about and are part of that larger ecosystem. So we got to kind of get it in that mindset for them that they can talk about those things as well, and that's kind of the conversations you got to have. You got to figure out the best approach for your store because each store manager is going to be different. Each carrier is going to be different on how they approach that. But once you kind of figure out that difficult conversation, I think that'll make that a little bit easier. I don't know, Amanda, you got any other experience from there? I know we both kind of came from the stores.
Yeah, so it is a difficult conversation, especially if you're having an interaction with a really gung-ho, loyal Apple user. Was I supposed to say Apple? Anyways, but a lot of those customers are kind of, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are customers out there who are just, it's the same old. It's the same old. Yes, their connectivity or continuity between devices and products, it's great, but it's become kind of mundane and boring, especially after all these years. And it's like, oh, it's the same thing. And it's about convenience. But what our field needs to know is that it's extremely convenient with our products as well. So it's talking about that continuity and starting one application on your handset and then moving to your tablet. You can pick up exactly where you left off. Think about how many people have Gmail accounts. I mean, everybody has Gmail accounts, and that's essentially all you need to run these different devices and connect them. We've got FaceTime now available. A lot of those customers, they don't want to get rid of FaceTime. And you've got a lot of customers who are like, gosh, I love Samsung devices. I love the Android platform, but I just can't get away from all of this stuff that I've been using with the other
ecosystem, right? And I would suggest for most people, at least friends and family, that includes a laptop, a phone, and right there, the messaging software working together. I can, no matter where I'm at, I get my messages, right? Possibly a watch. Personally, I'm not a smartwatch fan. I have 2 Samsungs. Don't wear them often. I never had an Apple Watch. Just didn't see the need. But I'm a tablet guy. So for me personally, laptop, phone, tablet, buds, and that's throw in the watch, and now that's kind of throw in Apple TV, sure, but that's kind of it. We have that. But we also we don't have to have a box for smart TV. We actually have smart TVs, right? I can get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to get a box to make my TV smart. I can get a smart Samsung TV. Then we also have, and the audience probably soon gonna get tired of hearing this. I just bought a Samsung refrigerator, and because of smart things, anytime my door's left open, I get notified, which is a big deal for me because I lost thousands of dollars of frozen meat months ago because a freezer door got left open. And it thawed. It didn't rot, but it all got freezer burned. Now, if that door's left open, my smartphone tells me, because my Samsung smartphone is connected to my Samsung refrigerator. Like, our ecosystem is huge. And I would suggest that, so you could talk about if I'm in a retail store that, and let's be honest, unless it's a big box, they're not going to sell. I feel like I can say safely Verizon doesn't sell refrigerators, right? We're still like, but that's a way to talk about the ecosystem. That's not going to, I'm not going to have the fear of losing a sale to another carrier or big box store because I don't sell refrigerators. But that would be a good way to, hey, we have everything they have, and just kind of leave it at that. We also, here's where our ecosystem is. It's kind of like improv. Yes, and. Oh, LO, you can do a laptop? We can too. And, oh, you can do a watch? We can too. And so that improv kind of yes, and refrigerators. And
but wait, there's more.
And,
there we go. Yep.
But wait, there's more. And that more, because the smart thing starts getting just absurdly huge. Like you're saying, apps, these services, these products, Samsung's far more than just, and I'm guessing, and ding, ding, beyond the smartphone, we're far more than just a smartphone company. That is,
absolutely.
But it's probably what most people know us for.
Oh, right.
But
I mean, you bring up
love.
Yeah, you bring up really amazing points. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, I have plenty of Samsung electronics. I do have the smart TV. I love it. And I never really kind of connected that about how you can have that conversation with a customer who has Samsung products, who loves Samsung appliances and entertainment products. So that is great. Something else you could throw in there is the Samsung Shop app. I think it was previously Samsung Rewards, but now, the icon when you go into the App Store or Google Play Store, it's this, blue icon and it says Shop. And basically, when you purchase Samsung products, you get perks, you get rewards towards, of course, other future Samsung product purchases. But still, it's free. It's a nice little rewards program. I'm not sure if our, competition does the same thing. I'm going to say not so much, but I don't know. Maybe somebody can help us out there and tell us whether or not they have a rewards program.
Yeah, and our you guys are right. Like, our ecosystem is really, really vast. So I'm going to say a lame marketing term here. Samsung just doesn't have an ecosystem. We have a whole galaxy of products.
That is, yeah.
That's good. Dad jokes. Dad jokes all day.
Yep, exactly. That's what I provide here.
So I will tell you, being from retail, and I'm talking probably 8 years in retail, I did a lot of shopping with their wallet. Like, I shouldn't position that because, they're spending so much money on this device already and like adding something. I just, and again, I mean, we can go back to those lifestyle questions. They are important. I'm going to re-emphasize that because customers, they're not going to volunteer information about themselves. You're going to have to dig that out of them during your interaction with them. Yeah. And that way, you can match the solution. Maybe they have a pain point they don't even know about. You can bring that up with a solution, or not bring that up, but kind of let them have that aha moment as you position those features, advantages, benefits of the product. So that being said, do not shop with the customer's wallet, what you perceive that maybe the customer is willing to spend that day. So that's a huge tip of mine, just being in retail. I don't know how often we really talk about that, but I found...
I'll say this. It's interesting. I'm glad you bring it up, because again, our audience, FSMs, we're the trading team. So we write trading. And so just to give you a little insight. So what Ryan and I do is considered global, although it is just US. We write trading that goes to everybody. So Amanda's on our CLS team. She then customizes that training for her carrier, her specific carrier. So sometimes there's silly examples. It's been a while, but if I do something that includes all the colors of the device, maybe one carrier doesn't want the red because they see red as being Verizon and they don't, they're not going to carry red because it's not really their thing. So she, and this example, I don't know if he actually does, but she would go in and make sure that there's no red phones and the color option. She would just customize it. Sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's important, but because of that, we don't really talk about cost a lot because I don't know what her carrier is going to sell it for versus another, versus which carrier is going to have which promo and which trade-in offer and how value. And so for us, it keeps us out of trouble by not talking about cost because we don't know. We know what retail is going to be. We know what Samsung promotions are going to be, but we're not always up to date on what each individual carrier, what's Costco going to discount it at versus what Walmart's going to discount it at versus who's going to do a trade-in, how big is that trade-in going to be, how N minus what for a trade-in, to all those things. So for us, we almost never come at it from cost in our, whether it's a customer profile. We may lean into, it's a college student, so we're hoping you'll go, hey, college students don't usually have a lot of money, so this is gonna, but we don't get to go, hey, their budget, they need something budget friendly. But I'll give you a real life example. I have a friend of mine who he's older than me. His whole career has been, lately, app development, smart guy, develops apps for Androids for a company. He absolutely loves Samsung. Now, he can afford the Flip, the Fold, the Note, the S series, right? But he is his wife's tech support, and he always wants to have the same phone as his wife. So a couple of months ago, we talked about it on the podcast before. He went in to buy the I think it was the A52, and it wasn't a matter of he couldn't afford something else. He can afford the S series. He doesn't want the S series. But if this older gentleman comes in, buys an A52, to Amanda's thing about don't promote, pitch, shop, whatever, the wallet, my friend has money. Just because he wants what we often kind of consider that entry level or budget friendly line, the A series, doesn't mean he can't afford a watch or a laptop or buds. And actually, when he went in, he wanted to buy two and pay cash. There's a whole nother story because they tried to sell what's available now to a different brand. They didn't have the A52 in stock, so they tried to get him in something else. But it's like, I mean, there's a real life example of what Amanda's talking about. Don't pitch based on what you think they can afford. Ask your questions, find out. We've talked so many times. I don't know how many times I've heard someone talk about how awesome the slow-mo is. I could not care less about slow-mo. I don't care. What I love about one thing I love about our phones is night mode. I take a lot of concert photos. Dark venue, getting the lights, beautiful. I don't need slow-mo. Don't pitch me slow-mo. Don't do it. Pitch me zoom, pitch me night mode, pitch me the stabilization. So while I'm trying not to dance, but I got my old man dance going on, the dad joke version of me dancing, I still get a steady photo or video, right? No, that's good.
I think that all ties back to, don't sell from the wallet, but it really goes to, pitching the value.
Yeah.
If you can get the customer to see the value in what you're offering, they'll be more willing to open their wallet. But not only that, for customers that you might bring over to Samsung from a competitor, thinking from a retention standpoint, and this is why it's important to think about, those other devices. And you were talking about Samsung Shop. Well, you can also buy Samsung products from Samsung Shop as well. And, when we talk about our laptops and things like that, you can get really good deals on those things when you trade in devices. So if you have that customer that was in that ecosystem and they're looking for a change to our ecosystem, ask them about what other ecosystem pieces they have, and maybe they have some things that they could trade in and potentially get a pretty good discount on, our ecosystem. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
And as a reminder, especially this holiday season, I know we talk a lot about LO, but let's not forget LG's out of the business. This holiday season, all of those LG customers that are coming up on 2-3 years that may be looking to get something this season, that they're not getting LG. Right? They're already familiar with Android. I don't want to say they're low-hanging fruit, but they might be low-hanging fruit. And then
absolutely.
What did they have? What did they have in their ecosystem that might also be, especially if you lean into who and you, right? Hey, what else would be good here? But then also, what did they wish they had? Hey, you've had this LG phone for 3 years. What else? Oh, it was so hard transferring stuff to my laptop. Hey, let me show you how this works,
So both of y'all brought up really good points and said some key words, some trigger words for me, which is show them, right? And so demo, I think, is a big thing when we talk about the ecosystem. And it's not just like demo whatever you think or whatever you think is cool and is like the showstopper. Simon, you mentioned, hey, I don't care about slow-mo. Like I need that night mode because of X. So not only demonstrating what's important to the customer, what you've discovered and learned that might be important to the customer, but also sharing experiences. Like if you were an RSA, Simon, you could have been like, hey, Samsung is so committed to providing the best camera on the market. And what I've found that I really like about X device is the night mode or, whatever, just sharing that experience to kind of translate why you would be promoting that product, recommending that product. So thank you so much for bringing that up. The show and tell type mentality, I think, is huge, especially when that customer has decided to come into the store and have an interaction with a sales representative.
Right. and our CSMI data shows that, and I forget the percentages now, but people that come in the store more often than not have already done the research online. And I'm not saying you shouldn't sell the device, or you shouldn't discuss the device, but they're there. It would indicate that they are there for more than just information. Most have already gathered information. So if and when you can get in their hands, get in their hands. And I'll give another silly example. When I first started Samsung, one of my very first week in the office, I was asked to shoot a video for somebody who was sick and was out. It was already produced. It was already written. The actors were already lined up, but I had to go in and shoot it. I came to Samsung with an iPhone, and I was smart enough to not walk around with my iPhone in the office. Right. But what I didn't know was, and on my iPhone, I did have specialty software for like pro mode to get into those features. And I did not know at the time that our phones our cameras on our phones had Pro Mode that would let me go in and adjust the things on my iPhone that I had to get a special app to do. So I, foolishly downloaded some app that looked vaguely familiar to what I was used to using, to then later find out, that's baked into our phone, and I don't want to keep going back to the apps, but I think you're onto something, Amanda, when you talk about a lot of people know us for our physical products. That's true. But we really do have a lot of baked in stuff that others don't. Like you made that comment earlier about inclusive. Samsung kind of like, we just, there's the freedom and the benefit of the Android operating system, this more open system, has benefits, right? There's a lot of stuff baked in to the point where, we kind of brought up FaceTime now, Duo, having the video call baked into our dialer. So I could just open up a dialer. I can video call Ryan. I don't have to close my phone, go to Duo, find him, and that software interaction with what a lot of people already know to be excellent hardware, awesome cameras, kind of really does tie the benefit into, hey, it works the way you would expect it to work. But all right.
So Simon, we've already kind of went over a little longer than what we had originally planned, but
we doubled our time, our normal desired time. Hey, but we got, like I said, we got special guests. It was worth it.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's just been that great of a conversation. So I would say, Amanda, any final thoughts, closing, maybe any insight into some upcoming training for BTS that you can give our audience?
So, yes, there are some great videos that are coming up. There are 3 videos specifically about ecosystem products. One of our team members did a great job. They're hype videos. They're short. They're like less than a minute and a half. You're going to see those in Elite. And then we have some for the carrier that I support. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but anyways, the carrier that I support is going to have training videos that are a little more lengthy, but that really dig into, hey, how do you connect this solution with the product that they came in to purchase, or maybe they didn't come in to purchase. Maybe you swung them over to switch to Samsung. But anyways, some really good content coming out there. So be on the lookout. It's going to be great, and you're going to get excited.
There we go.
Awesome.
I don't think I can top that.
I don't think so. I don't think I got anything to add to that. That's nice.
Thank you, Amanda, for joining us. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, everyone else, we will see you on the next one.